This is the Real Health Podcast brought to you by Riordan Clinic. Our mission is to bring you the latest information and top experts in functional and integrative medicine to help you make informed decisions on your path to real health.
Welcome, everyone, to the Real Health Podcast. I'm Dr. Ron Hunninghake, and it's my pleasure today to have Jenn Nolan back with us. Jenn is the owner of Remission Nutrition, and she's been on our program. And Jenn, welcome back to us again.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here again.
Yeah, so most people, they may not know what Remission Nutrition is, though remission, that sounds like cancer. People who are in remission need nutrition. Is that about it?
I like that. Yeah. And I believe that anyone could use probably some nutrition advice. So we work with folks that are in remission, not in remission, who are looking for prevention. And we work with and remission can be remission from a lot of different diseased states too.
Sure.
Yeah,
and we're talking about cancer survivorship today, which goes right in line with this. And it's the idea that people, after they have gone through, the shock of being diagnosed with cancer, and then the oftentimes the very tough therapies that are involved, after they finish that, it's kind of like people feel like they kind of like drop off the cliff. Okay, now what do I do? How do I prevent this from recurring? How do I regain my health? And so what are you telling, or not telling, what kind of a relationship are you forming with patients who are in this situation, and how are you helping them regain their health and stay in better health?
Yeah. So through nutrition, I feel like there's so much we can do, right, to sort of, in a sense, clean house or help them clean house. And that can be, oftentimes appetite goes away. People might lose quite a bit of weight. They might be very put off by certain foods that they were maybe able to eat before, and all of a sudden they're like, I never want to look at that thing again. So it's oftentimes just talking through it with them and getting them into, we're very much into a very whole foods based diet as best we can. How can we help people with building back up from fatigue? A lot of people have been very fatigued, not a lot of energy. So there's all kinds of things we can do with that. And then, of course, we can go a whole other direction and talk about the mental, emotional aspect of this as well, and how to deal with any potential, fears of things, kind of coming back and revisiting. So we want to clean house after the therapies. And we want to encourage that they don't just feel like they've rung the bell, so to speak, once they're done with treatment, and then they're good to go. So it's encouraging a really healthy sort of lifestyle rather than just that was your nutrition plan for then while you were in treatment. So
yeah, I can kind of see it going two ways. One, where people are so thankful to be through their therapy, and they really are motivated to find out, okay, I don't want this to happen again. I want to be in the very best nutritional state that I can be in. But then the other side of that might be that they may be very tired, very wiped out, depleted in many ways. And what I often see in my practice with patients is if they're stressed and tired, they don't have the energy to go find good food, or they go out and they buy the convenience foods or fast foods. And those are loaded with all the wrong things. So there's two different roads that people can go down. And so maybe we could kind of explore each road. And so you were talking about a whole foods diet. What's the very best thing that people can do for themselves in terms of good nutrition?
Yeah, I think we speak the same language in terms of metabolic health and metabolic nutrition. So still sticking with, if they've been doing it already, still sticking with a lower carbohydrate diet. So they're not, eating a lot of those processed junk foods, that are filled with sugar, filled with seed oils, filled with a lot of, processed grains and things. So if we can encourage, a lot of vegetables as possible. And some people, if they're kind of building their digestive system back up after treatment, which can be needed, right? We might encourage more cooked vegetables than a lot of raw veggies. So it would be, in my opinion, it's very plant forward, plant rich, from a lot of, again, colorful vegetables, some of the lower glycemic fruits, and then as much as these really healthy fats as possible. And I believe strongly in the protein aspect as well. So we've got to be incorporating enough protein so their tissues can heal. So I think that's a really big part of it. Gut health, we need those amino acids. We need the good tissue building ingredients, right? Or nutrients. So that would be my road for somebody who is ready to sort of build back up after treatment. And it's finding things, it's working with people very individually and figuring out where they are. Are they so wiped out that they just want to go and eat comfort food and buy things in a package? How can we help them find better things? How can we enlist maybe family members or support to kind of help with that? So we'll work with people quite in all different areas.
Yeah, I think the whole thing about packaged foods is I've just been listening to a book on the devastating effects of these plant oils, the seed oils, and people don't realize that might even be worse than sugar. I mean, I've always said sugar was the big thing, but I'm beginning to think that these vegetable oils that oxidize easily and get into the body, they're all the convenience packaged foods are loaded with these because they're cheap, and people don't realize that they have a very strong pro-inflammatory effect on the body and occlude the detoxification systems and all the things that a post-cancer patient's going to need. So can you speak to that a little bit more about how do you help people see the light on that?
Yeah, I mean, listening to books like you're listening to, that can sometimes be helpful. I really like to just educate people on how to read labels, which oils to look for, and which are okay, right? So doing a lot of that sort of education so people can really shop the right way. I mean, I'm sure you've had the experience where I've bought something at the store and I get home and I'm like, oops, I didn't even look. I didn't even realize that had a seed oil in it. And just because something says it's organic or even is at the health food store, we have to still read labels. And so it's really that awareness piece. There's a company, actually, it's an app that people can put on their phone. It's called Seed Oil Scout. And I'm not sure if you've heard of that, but
No.
It's really neat. So it's Seed Oil Scout, and you're able to search for restaurants that don't use seed oils, which is really nice. So that's another, just way to raise awareness, and to be educated on how to shop or eat out.
Yeah, and people don't have to buy everything organic. They don't have to buy, but if they can get fresh foods, if they can get foods that I would just call them farm foods in the old sense of farming. It's ironic these days that farmers, unfortunately, are having to do all their shopping at the grocery store when they used to grow their own foods. And I realize that people that are coming off of cancer may not have great energy reserves, but if they can start thinking about eating the way we used to eat and getting colors, freshness, and watch out when it's in a package and a label, because then more often than not, it's already been altered.
You bet. And I think that it's important too for folks when they're out shopping and they're looking at a label, the more ingredients that are listed on a label is a good indicator that it might not be something you want to purchase, right? And so if it has a few ingredients, that's better than one that has 9 or 10 ingredients listed. And then at the beginning, you want to see what shows up first in the label. And the thing at the top of the list has the most of that ingredient in it. So if sugar or a seed oil is the second ingredient, it's got a lot of that in it. So that's another way to sort of prioritize. You're right. We don't have to always not everybody's going to buy organic everything, right? But if you can eat real fresh food, like you said, things that aren't in a package, a lot of people talked about, and I don't know, I haven't said this in a while, but when you're shopping at the store, shop the perimeter of the store. And then you're getting the more whole foods. And that can be a really helpful just thing to keep in mind.
And colorful foods, real colors, that's where all the phytonutrients are and your antioxidants and fiber and all the things that your body needs to rebuild, because many people who are coming off of cancer are in a catabolic state. Their things are being broken down because of the intensity of either radiation therapy or chemotherapy. And so they really do need to build back up again. And these are all clues to help them kind of make better choices and get support from their family for the right things. So,
yeah, definitely. And then the other road we were talking about, can you refresh my memory? If we're going through, we've gone through treatment and somebody is, well, I guess we kind of combined the two roads, right? Whether you're wanting to clean house, or maybe you're just tired and worn out and you don't really have the energy to do it, then we figure out a way to sort of keep on keeping on, but not just like, woohoo, I'm done with treatment and I get to do whatever I want.
Yeah, I hope people are looking at the fact that the cancer didn't just happen, that there may have been lifestyle choices or factors that led up to it. And hopefully in the process of revising their lifestyle, that they can look back on where they came from and where they want to go and see this as an opportunity to go to a whole better level of living, better quality of life, which means better quality of food. Those types of choices.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love to watch that process and watch people oftentimes just feel better and better and better. And physically and emotionally, as they're changing their lifestyle habits, and certainly nutrition. Nutrition is something that we can do. When things feel really oftentimes out of control, whether we're anytime during a cancer journey, right? So it's something that we can do in a really beautiful way. And I love the word nourishment. I'm using that a lot. And balance. Those two words are big ones for me.
Yeah, just the whole concept of nourishing, I talk to our cancer patients in terms of nourishing relationships, nourishing sleep. Sleep is a kind of a nourishment, getting the right kinds of exercise, and the whole person element of this. This comes back to survivorship, the word that we started out with. Survivorship is kind of like it's almost like a state of mind that people need to get into, that, hey, I've made it this far. Now where do I need to go? Because I don't want to go back to this again. So it's taking ownership of this opportunity to, shall we say, start over, not really start over, but to evolve further along than where they were in the process of healing and growing, and feeling confident that they can maintain their health from this point on.
Absolutely. And if you were to add another word, it would be empowerment. Mm-hmm. Because if we feel empowered, we're going to continue to evolve, like you said. And so being empowered, and that's our job, right, is to empower people to see that they can make a difference in their journey. People oftentimes are very, and understandably so, fearful. And so they're moving from a place of fear. And it's really hard to feel empowered when you're feeling a lot of fear. So that's a big part of it too.
Well, and then the role that you play as a kind of nutrition coach, we all need support. We need guidance. We need the right kind of directionality. And so how do you find that role? How does that work for you in terms of what kind of a relationship are you in with cancer patients who have survived, but they're in a fearful state, but on the other hand, they're ready to make changes?
Yeah, I mean, we both know that term, meeting people where they are. And so every single person that I work with is different. They're in a different place. They might be in a different time in their journey. They might, again, be just interested in prevention, or they've gone through the treatment and they're looking to prevent it from coming back. Anywhere and meeting people where they are. And really, I believe our whole team, we really feel strongly about leaning in and being there with them. We don't just do, nutrition's a huge part of what we do, but we also, I mean, there's such a mental, emotional aspect that we work through. There's a lot of love that we share and a lot of connection. And we oftentimes get to spend more time with these folks than a lot of the other people on their care team do, because we're having these long, beautiful conversations, sometimes very difficult conversations. We're there oftentimes with other family members and support members. We work all on Zoom, but it can be very like an intimate sort of relationship that we end up being able to have with people, and it's pretty beautiful. So really being there for them, whether we're cheering them on, we're holding them accountable, we're giving them words of encouragement, education, the same things you all do. And we work with the terrain too. So we look at sleep, we look at stress, we look at movement and exercise, right, and all of it. So it's really special.
One of Dr. Riordan's, I think, greatest contributions to what this process of healing is all about is he said the very first thing we understand ourselves as the practitioner working with the patient is that we are co-learners, because each individual is unique and different. Each situation is different. What they've gone through is different. The family support that they have or don't have, that can be unique to that person. So when you go into that co-learning mode, as a practitioner, we're opening ourselves up to them in a way that they feel the support. They feel they're with them. We are cooperating with them, and that is empowering. And many times that's the secret in the sauce right there.
I couldn't agree more. Beautifully said.
Oh,
I love that co-learning term.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what you do. I think that's what we're all working on. It doesn't matter how much we know or think we know. Every situation's a new situation. And so we come into it with that beginner's mind in the sense that we have to develop the relationship with who we're working with in a way that they feel supported and empowered and ready to begin again. Every day we begin again, especially with diet. It's tricky these days to find the right kinds of foods. It's just always a challenge every day. So
it is. And I, obviously have that conversation with people every day. I just said it yesterday, the begin again with a client who had a really rough day the day before. She was in tears, and it's like, it's okay. We get to begin again. And, you can't beat up on yourself. You can't stress and think you've done something wrong, or, I don't like to give foods, the label bad. And that guilt piece and that stress
doesn't work.
More detrimental than anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So you, with Nutrition Remission, you're there. The purpose of your organization is to help people establish a solid remission and to have the mission of going forward to stay well and not have to deal with their cancer. Well, in a sense, you're always dealing with the memory of it, but to put the fear behind and use it as a motivation to grow and to get stronger. And that, I think, is what survivorship is all about.
Yeah. And I think that, again, it's a tricky one, right? The word remission, because I think sometimes that can end up as being this big expectation and on, I'm going to come to wherever it is, whatever clinic, and I'm going to be quote unquote cured. And I don't think that that's quite fair. I think it's more, we are here to help support you and support your terrain, to make your terrain, your body, an inhospitable place for cancer to grow and thrive. And remission can mean it's kind of the pulling back of, or pulling back of whatever that thing is, right? And so it's really important to have expectations and understand what we're there for. But again, this co-learning piece to help educate people, support them, and help really promote, yes, remission, prevention, all of those things through our work together. And it's co-work too. We're all working.
Yeah, and it's looking forward to a life of better health, not so much running away from a bad, terrible experience, in the sense that it's a very scary experience. And for people to achieve remission is huge. And so now, how can we stabilize it, establish it, solidify it, make it stronger, help us grow, help us become what we really want to become as a result of this tough experience? Because really, most of us, that's how we gain our most important lessons, is we go through tough experiences and we learn. So Jenn, I just remembered that you are coming to Wichita this summer, early August, to talk about Remission Nutrition. And we're going to have Dr. Dunn and Dr. West here as well, and we'll be doing a panel. Wow, that's going to be a dynamic opportunity for people to come and interact with you and our oncologists, as a way of kind of getting ideas for what they can do to strengthen their survivorship if they have had cancer, or prevention. So those types of things. So this is great. Have you been to Kansas before?
I have not. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to meet everyone in person, because we spend so much time on these computers that it'll be really fun to be in person. So.
Oh, yeah, we are real bodies, aren't we? Okay, well, we'll look forward to seeing you this August for Remission Nutrition in Kansas.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Jenn, I'm very happy for what you do, and thank you for being on our program. And I hope you will continue to serve as an inspiration to people on this journey to survivorship from the cancer. So thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Real Health Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. You can also find all of the episodes and show notes over at realhealthpodcast.org. Also, be sure to visit riordanclinic.org, where you will find hundreds of videos and articles to help you create your own version of real health.